This morning we're in a another campground. What's this one called?
I can't remember.
Something River? Dandy. Big Dandy. Montana Family Campground. I just made all that up. We're a little bit east of Wise River, Montana. So we're in the very bottom of Montana. Which means once we get moving, we'll be very shortly in Idaho. There's Dragon Lady. Dragon Lady set up her little sitting room. You need a rocking chair with a shawl over your lap. Our first campsite with no internet. Which is strange. Even that thing yesterday, Park Lake, that is pretty middle of nowhere. There is even less nowhere than anywhere else that we've been on this trip. And we had, it was 3G with an occasional little flare-up of 4. So here we are. We are back. We're very much back. When last we left our little story, we were up a mountain, and it was raining, and I was explaining at the end of the last video, just like I'm sitting here right now, explaining how we didn't capture anything for the rest of the day. A couple hours. It was late in the day, but a couple hours worth of getting down off that mountain, finding a campsite, and so on and so forth. And let me turn this around so that I stop looking at the screen and look right here. So we didn't find a campsite, and then suddenly, magically, of the content I have, it's the next day. That makes me so mad when I do that. But it is what it is. I got to deal with it. So I get on the camera like this and explain that to you. But I finished that video and I published that video. And shortly after that, I was starting to work on this next video, and sort of a perfect storm of things happened that caused me to take a break of sorts. Wasn't a conscious decision. One is the video editor that I've been using was terrible. It made editing videos kind of unpleasant because it was this constant specter of when's the editor going to crash and how much work will I lose. I was going to switch to another video editor that's been gaining popularity and getting a lot of recommendations. The COVID thing hit, so things changed dramatically around the house because Dragon Lady's working from home, I'm working from home during the lockdowns, and you know, initial estimates were it'd be a couple of weeks. I kind of had a good idea from a few sources that it was going to be more like a month, maybe more, and it turned out to be 2 months, 2.5 months. So anyway, I'm thinking all that time is going to be great for editing video. I'm going to be at home, I'll have more time to edit, I'll just edit video and get caught up. That'll be awesome. Well, I didn't want to switch to learning a new video editor. It's going to be slow. I'm going to be looking everything up. I don't want to do it. So I didn't. That's the problem with traps in productivity, is then you decide I'm going to be unproductive, so I don't want to do it. And what is that? Exactly 0 productivity, because you're throwing a tantrum like an idiot 4-year-old. So, and I did that for a long time. Somewhere in the last few weeks, as we're now into June, it just kind of hit me. I got ready going. I did a couple of videos with the mountain bike, and that got me, because they were very simple, very short videos, got me into working with this new video editor, And that got me when that was done, like, okay, cool. I'm getting back to now this video, getting back to this story where we pick up that next morning, me walking around with the camera, muttering and babbling. And I figured I should cut in before getting off with that video. I should cut in and explain why it's been 3 months since the last video, and just say we're back, we're here. Anyway, this is it. We'll go back to our morning here and our maintenance mishap, which was a great bunch of fun. Before we get running to, well, we're going to get ourselves packed up, squared away, and then I've got a little bit of kind of a maintenance reset on the truck. Stick the grease gun on a couple of zerts, and see if I can take care of some of those new squeaks that showed up yesterday. Then we're gonna refill the water tank in the trailer. We refilled the propanes in Billings, Butte, Montana yesterday. And
had dinner there.
What?
Had dinner there.
No, we had dinner. We had some pretty good pizza at the Mackenzie River Pizza and Pub. Decent pizza, although they didn't have any, for this Sicilian guy, any proper, like, standard pizza setups. They were all like genuine Montana rancher with Angus beef, and then there was the Thai with peanuts, and all these kind of foo-foo cutesy pizzas. But they allow you to craft your own, so I crafted my own in the more traditional European fashion.
Yeah, but
and it was pretty good. What?
You couldn't remember what you used to
what
order.
I usually get on pizza, because I haven't had pizza in like 2 years. That leftover pizza. Can't let it go to waste. Grandma's out there watching somewhere. If I let that pizza go to waste, she'll haunt me and jinx me and curse me from beyond. Grandma was never a vengeful sort of a lady, though, but if you pushed her far enough, she'd get that giant wooden spoon out that she used for stewing tomatoes and canning. This wooden spoon that my grandma would pull out for discipline in extreme cases was 3 feet long, probably 1.5 inches thick. And that thing, if she hit you with that, you stayed hit.
What is it with little old Italian ladies and the wooden spoons?
I don't know.
You always hear about that.
Oh, yeah. My mom used to, remember I was saying, I don't know how come the wooden spoons at our house last so long, because we were buying new wooden spoons every couple of weeks. My mom would never, she only occasionally hit us with them that I can think of. Mostly, the warning shot was the spoon across the counter, crack, and the spoon would just bust into pieces. And she'd grab another one and be like,
Okay, yeah.
So they'd always got busted and we bought new ones. We never had old wooden spoons, and now, since we don't have kids to give that treatment to, our wooden spoons last literally years. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Because it's an Italian
it's
thing.
a chosen weapon.
Yesterday was a nice section.
That was fun.
The only section I didn't like was the tunnel section.
Why?
Just because all the cows and the horses that had gone through it just was kind of stinky and... Ugh.
You never been on a ranch? You're in Montana.
It was like a swampy cow pooey smell.
Yeah.
Which is not pleasant.
It is what it is.
So... But otherwise, other than that section, it was good. Yeah.
There was a spring coming out of it. And then the Forest Service guy was trying to tell us something about how the mountain sucks in water and then spits it back out. and we weren't understanding any of what he was saying, but he was talking about it like it was common knowledge, which for him it is, because that's his job.
The dead trees.
And the dead trees spit out the water.
No, the dead trees don't. The ground isn't. The water isn't being absorbed into the trees because the trees are dead. So the water just runs.
Stays in the ground.
Finds
ways
above
out.
Ground. Yeah.
More north is more of that just fuzzy black dead trees falling all over the place. Coffee is happening, and in a few moments it's back to adventure clothes.
Mr. Fashion Maven over here.
Mr. Holy crap, you spent that much on a pair of pants? Yes, I did. They're nice.
You even packed more clothes than I did.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Today will be our 5th day on the trail. 4th day. 5th. I told you we'd lose count. And it would start tomorrow.
No, Tuesday was our first day, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Gotten to the point of diminishing returns on talking to this thing.
What? I'm going to grab that out of your hand and beat you with it.
Up. There's Dragon Lady standing there, probably waiting on me.
As usual. Don't you put that in my face like that.
So, yeah, another one where, because, I mean, we'd rather, of course, be out in the woods on our own. Oh, that's what I was starting to say. I mean, we'd much rather be out in the woods in some spot of our own picking, but, of our own making. But we, are still kind of screwy about bears. We're getting a little better, so we look for these places where there are millions of people. That's, I guess, why this camp's here and why there's a lot of people here. Pretty dang cool, and we just had the sound of that river the whole night, and it was fantastic. For an organized campground with all the RVs backed into their spots, this was pretty nice. As usual, everybody was really nice.
What are you guys videoing? What are you guys videoing?
Our trip. Yeah, we just encountered ourselves a little trouble. We got camp all packed up, ready to go. Last thing I wanted to do was break out the grease gun and hit the fittings on the upper control arms, the panhard bar, and the max coupler. So I did the max coupler, came over to one of the upper control arms, and as I'm pumping grease in, I'm squirting out the bushing, I found out. Very, very bizarre. So it's all back together now. I was a little worried about, I was not in filming mode, I was in, oh shit, this has to get taken care of mode. But let's see if I can point this out as best I can. Pumping grease, zert fitting down below on that joint on the upper control arm. This bushing here squirted out and curled up. Oh shit. So that was a bit of a problem. So what I'm thinking is that then this whole bolt through the upper control arm is going to need to come out to get the upper control arm off, get that bushing put back in, well, inspect the bushing and see if it even can be repaired. Or what are we going to do, and start making plans accordingly. But what was really strange, I got the thing up in the air, loosened here, and that kind of took the tension out of everything, and this bushing just sucked right back into where it was supposed to be. So we tightened everything back down, seems to be good. We're going to be watching that thing like a hawk the rest of the trip. Watching, listening. Okay, well, as long as my new favorite thing apparently is talking to you from here instead of from there, a little explanation about this near catastrophe with the suspension. We didn't have much signal, so I really couldn't look it up. What I look up if there was anything to know before jamming grease into that upper control arm. But the assumption was there's a Zerk fitting, you hook a grease gun up to it, you pump it up. That's how Zerk fittings work. Well, not with the urethane bushings in the Icon upper control arm. You remember when I said when I loosened that control arm pivot bolt, that bushing sucked back in. Because I created slack in the system. I took the tension off. Well, that same thing is required to keep that bushing from coming out in the first place. Basically, with that tension on it, it's sort of sealed on both ends. And when you jam that grease in there, the grease can't come out. It has nowhere to go, so it forces the bushing out because the bushing's a real soft piece. And with the grease, what is hydraulic pressure, the soft spot becomes the bushing, the weak spot where the pressure can relieve, so the bushing comes out. But if you slack the whole thing up, the grease has places to go. It can find its way out, so the bushing isn't the thing that finds its way out then. And then when you're done, tighten that back up, and everybody's happy. So that was what I suspected once that bushing sucked itself back in, that pressure relieved, and that bushing just found itself back into place. 10 minutes down the road, we had better connection. I went to Icon's website. I was able to pull down PDF and confirmed, yeah, that's the procedure for how to put the grease in. Great, that'll come in handy some other time. Later that day, it was the next day, I got hold of Icon just to ask them, does this bushing gotta go, or is it okay? They said as long as the bushing stayed in, didn't squirt itself all the way out and possibly get damaged, if it kind of curled out a little bit and then sucked itself back in, it should be fine. We kept an eye on it for probably a good week after this during the trip, and it remained fine. But that's sort of some additional info that came after this that also didn't wind up getting recorded that I thought would be pretty good to add here before people wind up in the comments going, you're an idiot, this is how you do that, blah, 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 and some other things. And it's covered. I got all that now. I just, on that morning, made a bad assumption, created a potential problem for myself that turned out to not be a problem. So, anyway, back to this. So now what I've done as part of being able to inspect over the next many days and make sure this is staying how I want it is I've got in my toolkit white paint pen, and I've marked the bolt and nut. On the other end of the bolt, I have marked a flat to let me know if that is turning, and just because I removed the delta joint piece here, I also have this marked, its relationship, make sure that's not going to unscrew on me. There we go. Yeah, all that's left is stick the wheel on and bring this thing down off the jack, hopefully without tearing the mirror off or putting a gaping hole in the door. I'm not one of those people that's that nervous about high lifts. As long as you know how to use them and don't use them poorly. Oh, it wasn't running. Should have been. It is now. Yeah, we got the truck all put back together. Little test drive, it's okay. Now we're over. This campsite has this awesome water coming out of this well. So we're going to swipe a little bit of that, fill up the trailer, because the trailer was getting close to empty. It was below a quarter. And then we'll be on the road today. Finally, it's 1:45. Whatever. It is what it is, as I always say, and we're just going to move on down the trail till we get to where we get tonight. So we continue to march along. We went south from Wise River. It's just the most astonishingly beautiful valley.
Yes.
Yes. It's just absolutely awesome. Checking out little overlook viewpoints and vistas, and the snow is amazing how much snow there still is on some of the surrounding mountains. But yeah, it's been awesome. I'm keeping an eye on the suspension, and that's looking fine. We might have dodged some sort of a bullet. Once we get into internet connection, though, I gotta look up and see how and why that might have happened. It's a Saturday today, so there's no calling icon to confer with them. But if I don't get satisfied as to what the problem was, I will be calling icon on Monday. Look at that. Check out Maverick Mountain. Maverick Mountain Ski Hill. We're turning in. Man, apparently the ski lodge is up the hill a good piece. So this turned out to be a little sideshow. Little further than I was hoping for to go check it out. I thought it'd be right off the main way. Oh, and I think I was starting to say, yeah, most of that whole way coming south from Wise River through that whole valley, it's all paved, but it's a designated official scenic byway, and it is just
Gorgeous.
we didn't see any mooses or bears out doing moose and bear things out in any of the meadows along the way, which we were hoping for. I imagine everybody else that's come through here gets to see them. He's gonna come check in with us. Ah, they do have a lift. It's right behind that building. Dog sniffing our tires. Let's move slowly because I'm not sure where that dog got off to. He might be trying to get into our trash now. He might have been. He was hanging out.
No, it's a different dog.
That's a different dog. He was hanging out by the back of the trailer where the trasheroo is, so that may have gotten very interesting to him. All right. Well, there went that. We looked at Maverick Mountain Ski Lodge. We're going to go back down the hill and get back on the road. What do you see here?
Old buildings.
Old buildings. Some of them about to fall down. Some of them in better shape. This is the something state park. Bannock State Park of Montana. The old ghost town of Bannock, Montana.
First territorial capital.
That was cool. I shut the camera off just in time to hear the lady playing piano tell somebody that she's been playing the piano here for 41 years. That's pretty badass. Oh, Dragon Lady just found herself a schoolhouse she's got to check out.
Oh yeah, the place. Oh crap! I mean, it goes down.
All right, I get to start all that over. I just had the GoPro in some mode that was not video. We have got our home for the night. We're in this really cool, really tight, kind of narrow valley. We came from back in there where it wound around, and it was the coolest drive we've had on this trip yet, I think. Now tomorrow we'll be down, as that feeds out, it feeds out to Lima, Montana, where we'll gas up and then we'll be in Idaho. This particular little campground is called what again?
Deadwood Gulch.
Deadwood Gulch Campground.
I just took the paper towels off.
You took what?
The paper towels off. They kept unrolling.
Okay. Paper towels keep unrolling. That's a camp mystery that we're yet to solve.
No, there's no mystery. The wind blows it.
Yeah, but how to keep them from unrolling?
Oh.
All right, well, anyway, time to eat.